Okay, the course is completely done now. By this point, you've finished all your regular in-class programming assignments, you've finished your design for your ISU. It's time to actually implement your final project. Now this is going to be a tricky project. It's meant to be tricky, it's meant to challenge you, so put everything you can into it and earn a good grade. Have some fun while you're doing it. Learn something. So, just to briefly go over this, the introduction of this document is mostly geared towards the grade 12s and the idea of being a group project, but it does still apply at least somewhat to all the grade 10s and 11s as well. So, basically what I want to talk about is a few tips to make sure that nothing bad happens. Make sure that you back up your project daily. That means every day when you get home or before you go to bed, you make a copy of your entire project folder somewhere else on your main computer at home. Not on the flash drive itself, but somewhere else on your main computer. And the reason why you're doing this is because there's always problems. There's problems with flash drives or whatever the issue may be. This avoids any problems. So basically, if you do lose it, the most you're ever losing is 1 day's worth of work, which is far better than losing weeks or even a month worth of work. So make sure you take the time and back it up on a daily basis. Stay on task. You have your milestone checklist. Follow it. Make sure you're hitting all your deadlines. If you feel that you're starting to fall behind, that means you got to pick up the slack somewhere else. So take the time and make sure that you're keeping up with everything. If you are in a group setting, then you need to look at it from a group perspective, which means that the division of labor needs to be equal amongst everybody. Now what that means is not mean every person does the same hours of work. What it means is everybody is equally challenged. So that may differ depending on the students within the group. So you guys need to measure each other and make sure everybody's doing the same level of complexity for them and the same amount of time and work for that individual. So find an effective way to share and integrate the projects. So maybe you're going to share using Google Drive or Dropbox. Maybe you have like an online repository or something like that. There's also other online file sharing tools called like CVS and whatnot. They're called source control tools. CVS is one of the big ones. There's also a number of others. Just Google and you'll find something. Have a quick 5-minute daily meeting with your group. Check your progress. Make sure everybody's on task and going to hit their deadlines. Just at the beginning of every period or the beginning of every day. Say, okay guys, let's see what's going on, who's where, who's what. Maybe designate a leader to chair those meetings. Police yourselves. If you have a group member not pulling their weight, take care of it immediately. Don't let it wait. You guys need to make sure that everybody's pulling their weight. Okay, the teacher can't do everything for you. You need to be able to do it on your own as well. So that's the basics for just getting started. So in terms of the project implementation, so once coding begins, every single class you're going to be working. If you're not working, that means you're having a meeting with your teacher. Maybe that's me, Mr. Lane, maybe that's Mr. Finley, maybe it's another teacher at that point, I'm not sure. But basically, every day you're either going to be working or it's the day following one of your milestones, which means that you need to meet with that teacher and prove that you've effectively finished all of your milestones. Okay? So be prepared to demonstrate the completion of all the work in that milestone. Failure to meet any of it will not result in a mark. So you need to make sure that you get the whole thing done. Not part of it, not 3/4 of it, all of it. That's the goal. You either hit your milestone or you do not. If you're going to be away and you're part of a group, what that means is that you need to make sure that your group can access your code, because they will be demonstrating your work for you. And if they cannot, that means you are not going to get credit for your milestone. You missed your deadline. So you do not have any excuses. Get it done, share it with somebody else in your group. If your software requires any forms of special instructions, like how to install a new font or something else along those lines, make sure in your project folder you have a readme.txt file which explains exactly what I need to do and where I need to get what I need to get. So required documentation. So just like any other project, you have all your standard required documentation, headers, and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't change. On top of this, your group or you as an individual is responsible for creating a game manual for your product. So the manual basically should resemble any real game manual, complete with cover art, table of contents, backstory, controls, screenshots, gameplay information, all that kind of stuff. If you click on the link here, it will take you to this, which is a Super Nintendo game manual for the game Super Mario World. And if you look through it, it's kind of broken apart and somebody just scanned it in, but basically you're looking at the left and right pages of each page. You see they have a table of contents, a backstory, then it gets into the controls, different context where you'd see it, illustrations to help demonstrate this type of stuff. It's not just text. There's other things in there to help make it easier for the reader to digest. How to play the game, the layouts, the user interface, all these different things, different coins, all these different things are here to demonstrate to the user how to possibly play the game, all aspects of it. So there's no question or anything like that. There's also warnings and everything like that to make sure that the user is not going to break their game in any way or suffer any health problems as a result. So that is your required documentation. And then we get into the next piece. So I'm going to leave the next piece for the next module. We'll finish that off together.